Welcome, dear readers, to Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed but not read by yours truly. My name is Khaki.
And I'm Kay. And remember, we only judge a book by its cover. And today's book is Tom Swift and His Atomic Earth Blaster by, I can't read the name.
Victor Appleton II. It's a Tom Swift Jr. book.
Before he got into the Tom Swift Senior series.
That's right. That's how it went. It's weird how he wrote the junior stories first.
Well, you know.
Because, he started off with Tom Swift Jr., a youthful character supposed to appeal to a younger audience, living in the shadow of his more famous father, and then later wrote a series involving his geriatric father trying to reclaim lost
youth.
Yes,
I mean,
lost
it
relevance.
did a little bit grim towards the end when it started moving more in towards territory of scientific experimentation and stealing the blood of the young and all kind of that. It got a little bit more morbid at the end.
But the traditional way is to start off with, you'd expected it to start with Tom Swift, and he was like a boy genius, and then he grew up over the series, and then we've got to appeal to a
genius is a little bit giving him too much credit in this book.
Tom Senior.
Oh, Senior, yes.
Yeah, that would have been the way to normally do it, and then we need to appeal to because you've got James Bond Jr.
It was a bit of a fad at the time, having the junior thing, and I can get in on that, and I don't need a senior to work from. I can just start straight off with a junior.
Look at us really getting into the book this early in the episode. Oh, I'm so proud of us. But I think we owe it to the readers at home, even if this is a new year and a new beginning, to sort of catch them up on the unnecessary lore that has sprung up about this literary podcast.
Yes.
But I had I've had an idea in that regard. I think that we should make our podcast that we do, you and I, Kay, and me.
Yes.
Khaki. Yes. We should make it more. Yeah, we should make it more accessible to people. So I think
you been at the Red Ink again.
See, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I think I'm not going to do any callbacks anymore, and I think that I'm making that. I'm doing that as a conscious choice, not because I don't remember any of the cool adventures that we've had over the last year, but no, I think I'm just going to make the choice for our readers at home to not refer to the past too much. So I'm not going to refer to whatever the name was of the vehicle that we used to ride around this
library.
Yeah. Or sort of mention what happened to it or where it is, because I've sort of moved past that.
It's just because you fell off, wasn't it?
It's in the past. Bygones be bygones.
Right. Okay.
Hey, Kate, let me ask you.
Yeah.
How do you like my bear suit?
It looks very good.
Thank you.
It's shown improvement.
Right.
Especially since you decided to ditch the faux bear fur, which I'm still not sure where you tried to make it out of. But yeah, good call.
The past is the past.
Yeah,
I could tell you, but then I'd be breaking my oath.
No, exactly. I like the more industrial look that you've got going right now.
Yes. The sort of exposed components.
Yeah.
Now it's I still have trouble seeing out. It is very dense in its components. The
advantage of that is it makes it harder for the bears to get at your eyes.
See, yes,
yeah,
yes. That's probably. I mean, that's definitely why I designed it like that. And Khaki.
It's nothing to do with you getting sick and tired of hammering at the helmet and deciding screw it. I'm not going to expand this slot any further.
Yeah, I mean, I clearly had fun building this,
totally.
didn't I? Yeah. Yeah, so no, I understand that this probably puts up some barriers between us. I have a hard time seeing out. You probably have a harder time seeing in.
Yes,
but I hope that you can still be comfortable. Also, I've decided that it's a pro bear suit.
Oh, okay. As opposed to an anti-bear suit.
It's
always been for studying bears and interacting with bears, and not necessarily for staving off bears.
Yeah,
I think bears
going to achieve
bears
that.
have other ways of hurting you.
That has been my experience.
It's they're emotionally complex creatures, and they're not beyond a little bit of manipulation from time to time.
Yeah, and they're notorious underminers. But I think with my new
cave bears, yes.
I'm sorry. What's this?
Cave bears.
Cave
they're
bears.
Underminers.
Oh. Yes, that's right.
There's ride bears.
There's what?
Ride bears.
Ride
bears.
Ride bears.
It's there's this whatchamacallit. It's a theme park. And it's very bear themed, and you can get
that sounds right.
You can get a bear ride there, and it's especially popular with the younger kids. And then again, they're underminers again.
See, I'm going to have to control my laughter, because if I laugh, that'll just encourage you, and then you'll do more of this.
I think I'm done.
No, okay. This is a serious literary review podcast where we review but don't read these books, and we owe it to our readers to get to the point. So, just one more thing.
Yes.
Do you have like a sandwich with you, or do you have like any snacks on you?
Perhaps?
Sure. Just for me to enjoy now.
Yeah.
Like what do you have on you? Just
purely out of
curiosity.
Tupperware
Can
container.
we take a look in there?
Yeah,
let's
see. It's spicy garlic pasta, fusion pasta.
Oh, whoa! Oh, that looks amazing. Can I?
By all means, have some.
Okay, I'm gonna just for the readers at home. I mean, just maybe you can tell the readers at home what this book is about, while I take this Tupperware basket full of pasta and take it to the stream and gently wash it. I'll be right back.
Wait, you're.
Why don't you just tell the readers what the book is about?
Okay, well, I'll do the cover. Like, it's kind of the thing of our podcast, you know. Like,
that's right.
Cover
that's right.
So what we have here is the Tom Swift and his Atomic Earth Blaster.
Yes, by Victor Appleton II.
That's the one. Yes, and we have a scene from the South Pole with Tom Swift in the foreground wearing his Arctic exploration suit, which is a very interesting combination of spacesuit and. Got this parka with the little fluffy collars and the lacing at the front, and then this like weird helmet that he's wearing with.
Yes, inside which he's screaming.
Oh yeah. Well,
just a second. I'm going to have to take my Tupperware basket out of the stream real quick. And for the readers at home, if you look down at your podcasting device right now, you should be seeing the cover of today's book. And if not, you can check the show notes for an image or a link, or you can look for episode 53 on covermyasscast.com, or you can even find us on Twitter at covermyasscast. That's what he says every week. That's what I say every week. All right, I'm going to go back to the stream and gently wash your food.
Okay. So yes, back to the cover. There's like the polar ice sheet which is breaking up. In the back, you can see the polar ice exploration station with the huts and the antenna and everything. And there's like this big magma plume coming out and washing out over the.
It's just a geyser of magma. Actually, isn't it lava?
Oh, well, it's magma when it's under the ground.
And it's lava when I guess when it touches air.
I don't know when it becomes lava. When it's flowing off the ground, it's definitely lava.
Yeah. So what's the deal? Like when it's not under the ground anymore? Like I mean, it's kind of also is the ground and it becomes ground. So that seems like such a weird definition.
Well, you have the lava flow, and I think it's still called
magma ducts.
You also got lava tunnels, you know.
And you've got underwater lava, so no, it's not about just touching air.
No. And it's still called lava after it's solidified. I guess it does, you got the lava fields, which look fantastic. You got these,
in Hawaii.
Yeah, the ropey coils and of stone.
Oh, that sounds spectacular. I got to recently revisit the Giant's Causeway in Northern Ireland, a basalt formation.
Where everything's broken apart into hexagonal columns, isn't it?
Yes, there's all these sort of hexagonal columns coming out of the sea, and a causeway is stairs.
Yes.
The myth was that was the stairs that the giant used to
come
step
out of the water.
Yeah, when he went swimming or took a bath or something.
Yeah, it's amazing that these things exist, but also come to realize that like in a few hundred years, and definitely 1,000 years, it'll be gone. Because like erosion will have I would assume that erosion will have like washed it away at that point.
A century though?
Maybe a few centuries.
For rocks, like the difference between years and millennia is barely worth mentioning. It's just for our time scale.
Well,
I think many more humans will be able to enjoy.
It's like with bankruptcy. It happens slowly and then abruptly.
That is definitely true. Because that is a very good point. Because as it wears down, its surface to volume ratio increases. Yes, that's the one. Should we talk about the book?
Let's talk about the book. Tom Swift and his Atomic Earth Blaster, obviously.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, if there ever was a clear title what the book was about, then it's like...
I do love a title that does what it says on the tin.
And delivers what it promises.
That's the one.
So, yes, let me turn to the back of the book and have a quick...
flip it over.
Flip it over and see what it says after all the
That's always our favourite part of the episode, when we flip it over.
Flip it over, yes. A bumblebrained young blunder-dunce is mistaken for an eccentric prodigy and tasked with creating wondrous new technologies to safely exploit the Arctic mineral resources. Together with his well-meaning but equally incompetent friends, Tom Swift nobly strives and disastrously fails to live up to his parents' rose-tinted expectations, to the ruin of all who believed in him.
Wow. Now, it sort of reminds me of disappointing movie trailers that you already know give away way too much of the plot. Like, multiple twists are already delivered in it.
Yes.
I'm thinking of, like, Terminator Genesis, where the fact that John Connor, spoiler, was actually a Terminator, was spoiled in the trailer, and therefore there was no suspense. Yeah.
It's something about American movie trailers which do that. It's like increasingly badly, I suppose.
The trailers are made by an entirely different team than those who made, like, they're made by the marketing team, and they go through the movie and, like, whatever they think will get the most butts in seats is what they do.
You'd think that, like, having the movie spoiled like that is going to make, like, oh, well, I know the point now. It's like is that going to make it even more exciting?
Like, it's going to lower the reviews, but it's what they think will get butts into seats. I mean, what the marketeers want to avoid is people who don't bother going to see the movie.
Yeah.
They don't care if the people who have paid to go and see the movie enjoy it more or less.
Yeah, if they like it or not, as long as they go to see it. But
like, ideally go and see it again. That's something that Titanic was famous for. James Cameron's film.
Repeat custom.
Yes. Yes. That's why it broke, like, the $1 billion. Like, people just went again and again because it was great. Dudes could at least pretend, if not actually, like, pretend that they went for the amazing special effects and the gruesome disaster and all of that.
Which special effects which have not really aged that well. I mean, the scenes with
I've seen it again recently after visiting the Titanic experience in Belfast itself. And I've got to say, the grandeur of the ship, the scope of the sets, and
specifically the sinking part. The ship tilting out of the water and the people falling down. It looks a bit.
The Titanic wasn't that big compared to our modern imaginations.
No. It's like you've got these beautiful comparison shots of, like, the Titanic compared to a modern cruise ship.
Like, okay, we need to get better about this. We started so good, started with the book straight away. So the book you mentioned, the Arctic Exploration Society. How did you, Victor Appleton, describe it again?
Oh, I think it was called the Arctic Society on Glaciovolcanism.
Ah, yes. So we discovered this mostly in flashbacks, because we start, of course, in media res, where Tom Swift Jr. is brought forward by the Professors Guild to solve a problem that the Arctic Appreciation Society has regarding glacial volcanism, which has stymied the world's attempts to successfly and ethically exploit Arctic resources.
Well, especially the latter part. I mean, they've noticed that the Antarctic is a massive source of resources. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
A resource source. So there's, like, it produces a lot of minerals which are somewhat easily accessible if it weren't for the fact that they were then under a thick sheet of ice.
Yes, an enormous inconvenience, which presents some engineering challenges that initially the Arctic Appreciation Society contacted the Professors Guild to solve for them, and after many struggles, they decided to enlist the help of young Tom Swift Jr., whom they considered a child prodigy. I mean, in part because of his heritage. Like, he's the son of Thomas Swift Sr., one of their emeritus members, who has a long pedigree of fantastic inventions.
The heir to the Swift fortune and all that.
Yeah. He's responsible for some truly fantastic inventions. This kid invented the best carbon dioxide scrubber that they've ever heard of, creating a revolution in space travel, like that's used on the International Space Station, and he invented the first terraforming technology so that hostile environments like Mercury or Venus are slowly being developed into human breathable atmospheres, and he even developed a form of ethical protein generation that is feeding a significant portion of the population. Well, it's interesting that you asked that. I mean, obviously you'd think that chicken is just a pretty good source of protein, especially if they run around kind of chicken. But we are very quickly introduced to the reality that Tom Swift Jr. lives in, which is he is not the child prodigy that he's made out to be, and he certainly doesn't. Yes. Yeah, he didn't initially try to be. Like, he wants to be an underwater polo referee, because the one thing that he's very good at is he can hold his breath for a long time.
16 minutes, I believe.
Which is enough time for a 15-minute match of underwater polo, a truly bizarre sport that I don't fully understand.
Have you ever played it?
I'm about to play a bout right now. Here, why don't you keep talking to the audience while I play a bout of underwater polo? Here I go.
Okay, so, yes, good Tom goes onto his
I suck at underwater polo.
That was 16 minutes, not even close. More like 16 seconds. And I'm being generous here.
Thank you. It's a good thing that you're not a referee.
Well, it's a weird game. Actually, I'm thinking of underwater hockey, not necessarily underwater polo.
How does underwater hockey work?
You use a hockey
weighted
puck.
Ball.
Hockey, weighted puck. You use a puck.
Yeah,
you got like very small little sticks, which are like about the size of a spatula.
Are you telling me a real thing?
Yes.
Okay.
I am. And you
please explain it to me and the readers at home in detail, because this has just brightened my day.
So you play it in a swimming pool.
Obviously.
And you have like 2 teams. And it's kind of like hockey. But
is everyone underwater?
Well, yes.
Is the audience underwater?
Well, it's not really an audience sport.
It's not a spectator sport, then, is it? Like, if the audience is sort of sitting on the side just waiting for...
Yeah.
Can you see what's happening? No, the surface is just...
I suppose because there's people constantly surfacing and coming up and down, and you've got like
oh shit, oh fuck,
yeah. So on either side there's like there's a goal, which is kind of like a tray, which is like I think about 1.5 meters long, and then you have to shoot the puck into that, and you're only allowed to play the puck with your stick. So you have to kind of dive and swim for it and push, and then fight for the puck with the other people in the opponent team.
So happy! I want to go and see an underwater hockey.
No, this exists. It's like
I mean, if you go to a sports game, you get some snacks, and then you can just immediately sort of gently wash it under the water before you eat it.
It's ridiculously hard work. Are you a fan of cotton candy?
I don't want to talk about that, okay? Like, that is a source of extreme disappointment.
Okay.
As you well know. Nobody loves cotton candy. There can't be a rational person in the universe who loves
I kind of do.
Cotton candy. No. So you asked about, speaking of food stuff, you mentioned the ethical protein that he's famous for. We very quickly find out that, like many of the inventions that Tom Swift Jr. is famous for, much like his father was a famous inventor, they were kind of accidental.
Yes.
In a sort of roundabout way, because Tom Swift Jr. was trying to invent synthetic skin for people with burns or who needed skin transplantations. Unfortunately, being a bumblebrained blunder-dunce, he did not make synthetic skin so much as he made a sort of blob monster that very rapidly consumed everything inside of lab and was on its way to destroy most of humanity. Until it was caught and it was realized that, we have sort of endlessly self-replicating
you can just kind of throw stuff into it and then cut bits off of it and it becomes cheap protein.
Yeah, and it demonstrably doesn't have pain or suffer anything. It doesn't have a brain.
As they say.
This is essentially lab-grown meat, self-replicating animal protein that has all of the flavor that carnivores come to expect. So he was hailed for introducing this fantastically ethical protein source, and he held his breath and took the credit for it because he didn't want to disappoint his dad.
Yes, he did put his good friend Biff Wellington into the board of directors of that company to get that running.
I sort of appreciated that. Tom Swift Jr. is all about his friend who helped him solve some of these crises. It was Biff's idea to... What if we tell people that this was the plan all along?
There you go.
Yeah.
It was sell it as food. Wrap it in a bit of pastry and stick it in the oven and
exactly.
then sell it.
I mean, he has a number of such friends. He had a Russian counterpart, Johnny On-a-Spot Jr.
On-a-Spot. On-a-Spot. How do you pronounce that in Russian?
I don't know. It's missing the crucial name. It doesn't have a patronymic. Russian names, they also mention the father usually, but in this case it's unconventional.
Johnny On-a-Spotnik.
Oh, there was I know that we're not supposed to do asides, especially since this is already done a little bit wrong, but there was an episode, do you know the television cartoon series Road Rovers?
No.
With the sort of hero anthropomorphized dogs, and they go on missions, and one of them is Russian. Yes, and it was a cartoon in the 90s, and they were going to do a musical number where they were going to use the word son of a bitch, because they're dogs, right? And a male dog is the son, undoubtedly.
I mean, every dog is the son of a bitch.
But, of course, the television broadcast and standards would not permit the use of this word. So instead, they gave a version of that song to one of their Russian members who explains about Russian patronymics, where you take the name of the father of the individual and you add Ovich, or if it's a daughter in the case of boys, it's Ovich. So the son of Sonov is son of a bitch. So they could still make the joke. They went through all of this just so they could get son of a bitch on television.
I suppose it works for the...
So it would be Johnny Orospotovich, I guess.
Yes.
Now, he was responsible for helping out Tom Swift Jr. when he was tasked to create a better way to recycle aluminum.
I mean, that seems like a very tall order. I mean, aluminum being one of the most easily recyclable materials that there is.
How do you do it? You filter for all the metals.
Well,
and then you run them over magnets, and you get all the ferrous materials out.
Yep.
And then what you're left with is almost certainly aluminum.
No, there are other non-ferrous materials
That's
like copper and brass, and tin, I suppose.
What are metals?
Metals are metals is a particular kind of element.
Yeah, do we know all of them? Because it kind of depends on who you ask.
Yeah.
Like if you ask even like a 15th century person, metal is anything hard that comes out of the ground. If you ask a modern astrophysicist, do you know what they say metals are? Anything that isn't hydrogen or helium. That's what they say. Any baryonic matter, anything that's on the periodic table and it's not hydrogen or helium, astrophysicists call them all metals.
Oxygen?
Metal.
Okay, so my original answer would have been something like, if it is in particular columns of the periodic table, then it's a metal.
In attempting to create an aluminum recycling system that's superior to what we already use, he winds up inventing accidentally what is called a metallophage.
Instead of eating organic matter, it eats all sorts of material and it just excretes, it kind of like becomes metalist blobs which you can cut off and then like recycle into. I'm detecting a theme here in the...
I mean, this would have threatened to deplete the world's metal supply, much in the way that the blob monster would have consumed all organic life on Earth, except someone discovered that it consumes a disproportionate amount of carbon dioxide when it does so. And now the lab sample is extremely popular on spacecraft and space stations. They have a little like aluminum salt shaker, and you can just feed this. You've got this little terrarium, and you can just feed a little bit of aluminum, and it'll just strip all the CO2 that you want out of the atmosphere. Do we need CO2 in our atmosphere when we breathe it? You and I?
No, not really.
I mean, plants
like it.
So you can't go too crazy.
If you look at a plant, like most of the material that makes up the plant comes from the air.
All of the carbon, right?
Yeah, and the same thing is like when a human loses weight. Like where does the matter go? And it's like you exhale it.
Yes,
it's like all the fat that you lose, you exhale it as carbon dioxide. It's weird.
The carbon cycle is so miraculous, and so once more, he's hailed as a miracle worker for creating the CO2 scrubber, thanks to an idea by Johnny On a Spot Jr. And it's his third friend Dick Brisk Jr.
Yes.
Who helps him out when he's tasked to create.
Dick Brisk, he's the one who's known as Gooey Duck, right?
Ah, yes, that's right. That's right. I forgot how many nicknames some of these guys had. Victor Appleton II. You're kind of a saucy writer, aren't you?
Oh, you've seen Gooey Ducks, right?
No, I mean
okay, so they're a particular kind of clam.
What the fuck are you talking about now?
It's called a Gooey Duck,
and it's not a duck.
It's spelled geoduck. It's pronounced Gooey Duck, and it's a clam. And it lives in the northwestern part of Canada, I believe, on the tide lines.
Okay.
And they're about the size of the palm of your hand.
All right,
the shell. And they have this enormous...
So it's about 3 or 4 centimeters.
Oh, 3 or 4 centimeters. Can you hold out the hand of your bear suit?
Oh, the bear suit is obviously clearly enlarged. Like that's a huge one. But you know that my hand inside is much smaller than this giant ball.
That's the normal you, how I remember you.
Yeah, exactly. Like the normal regular person-sized hand.
The khaki-sized hand.
Exactly. It's much smaller than this obscenely large.
Yeah, not at all like my hand, which is kind of like still smaller than the bear paw. But.
So, what about this Gooey Duck?
So it's a clam, and it's about the size of my hand, which I hold it up here.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
And it's got this enormous protrusion, which is like 3 or 4 times the length of the shell. It's rather an obscene sight, if you can imagine.
Okay, and it's also probably a certain color that's sort of...
It's kind of like fleshy, a little bit palish yellow. And it's not...
So what's the thing for? Is it like is it to move around?
No, I think it's like the thing that like they dig into the sand and they use that to kind of come up and like suck in water. I think it's a bivalve.
Yeah, clams are.
It's considered good eating in certain areas of the world.
So the thing that I'm most upset by, I mean, aside aside from having I don't know if proboscis is the right word. It probably isn't. I think a proboscis has
it's meant for probing into things, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So, like you said, GEO, and it's pronounced gooey.
It's pronounced gooey. They're Canadian.
That's an unkind thing to say about Canadians. Canadians tend to speak much better English than many other peoples in the Anglosphere.
So it's spelled geoduck, but it's pronounced gooey duck.
But do we know?
And I don't know where the duck part comes from.
I hadn't even gotten to that yet. Okay, fine. Yes, I will. But yes, it is the Canadian Dick Brisk Jr., also known as Gooey Duck,
yes,
who helps Tom Swift out of his third sticky wicket. That solidifies his reputation as a child prodigy. I mean, he was asked to create a cloud dispenser because clouds can be very inconvenient at certain times. Certainly, like
you want the clouds where you need them, and when you want them, not at any time other times.
Unfortunately, he wound up creating what essentially can be called an out-of-control weather catalyst,
yes,
which was then marketed by Gooey Duck Jr. as a terraformer.
Yes.
And so now, like, thanks to these inventions that Tom Swift Jr. accidentally created, the Earth is colonizing the stars and reforming various inhospitable planets to support human life. So obviously they assume that he will be the one who is easily able to solve the issue of glacial volcanism.
Yes. There's a Arctic exploration trip where it's like everybody sets off on the boat, swinging past the Falklands. Like I think they wave at some of the wasps which are flying over at the point.
Yes, yes. I love that little clock.
Yes.
No, hold on. No,
sorry.
We're not. I'm not doing. No, you can do whatever you want. I'm not doing any callbacks.
All right. Well, I was just referring to other books that we might have reviewed in this podcast.
Yeah, but not read.
We know what we're talking about. We don't read them.
No, exactly.
That's for plebs. Anyway, on the way to the South Pole, a nice little swing past the Falklands and down to the ice shelf, where our good friend Tom is going out into the, being presented with the problem. It's like he's at the research station and they're showing him like the primitive, more traditional mines, which first have to dig through the ice shelf before they can get to the rich deposits of the minerals.
Yes, in particular, the phosphates deposits.
No. It's like phosphates. I mean, you'd think that like phosphates aren't they usually harvested from manure?
Who's to say? I didn't write the book, Kay. Like you can just look at me like I'm supposed to be responsible for no. But Victor Appleton II, he wrote about the massive phosphate deposits, which is apparently a thing.
On the South Pole, yeah.
On the exactly.
It might not be that well researched, but
no, exactly. Maybe Victor Appleton just didn't do his research.
No, I think this makes perfectly good sense because, like you know how there's like certain islands which are like slowly being harvested for the manure for the bird, the guano, the guano type.
Yes, yeah.
I think that's like this ties in later in the book. I mean, what is the South Pole known for? Penguins.
Bears.
No, bears are on the North Pole.
Okay, let me try this again.
What is the South Pole known for? Penguins.
Ice. Okay, yes. No, let's try this one more time. I'm sure I'll get it.
Okay. What is the South Pole known for? Penguins.
Penguins.
Yes, birds.
Oh, yeah.
Flightless birds who produce large amounts of manure, and therefore there's like...
that's right.
It refers to later on in the book. As soon as he starts
I was going to say otters, but I could already tell from your face that you probably didn't want to hear.
I don't think there's any otters on the South Pole.
Look,
I've never seen one there. I mean, I've never been to the South Pole, so I've never seen anything on the South Pole, for that matter. But, you know, penguins. They go to visit the phosphate deposits, and, of course, this results in Tom being
fossilized guano over many, many centuries and millennia.
Tom, being his bumbling self, manages to set off a penguin stampede, which our intrepid heroes narrowly manage to avoid by climbing up onto an icy outcropping and surrounded by the surge of penguins as they trample their eggs and their young and everything out in the big swath. Seals,
otters? You already said no otters.
No otters. No, okay, I mean, seals are kind of like sea lions. Yeah, I think you have those.
In the south. Yeah. What other animals do we have in the South Pole? Snowbats?
I don't know about snowbats.
Thanks to this penguin stampede, he discovers a fossilized alien warship from the ancient Proto-Zorglabian invasion.
Yes. I'm not sure how they managed to tie that into this book. I think it's like him being a little bit referential to his earlier books, the other writings, like trying to get some world-building canon going there.
Do you think that was... You'd almost think that was maybe like a callback to the very first episode by...
Yeah. So, yes, exciting exploration of this new find, this ship that's been buried in the Arctic ice for... who knows how many hundreds or thousands of years, looking at the various alien technology, which he somehow manages to retro-engineer or just like pull out of the weapons locker, I suppose.
Look, but in the meantime, like, he is a bumble-brained blunder-dunce. He is constantly, like, just destroying all these systems. Turns out some of these ancient weapon systems have just been on and off, like, continuously, intermittently, causing the glacial volcanic problems. And just by the fact that he is destroying this incredibly valuable artifact, he's also turning off the big problem that he was sent there to solve, and therefore hailed as a hero for solving it. Never mind that humanity never finds this proto-Zorklabian spacecraft relic.
I think it's a self-destruct system that gets activated, resulting in a bit of a, well, basically
we see it on the cover.
The final glacio-volcanic explosion.
A big magma/lava eruption that conveniently erases all the evidence as well.
There's an ice shelf fracture which breaks off the bit of the ice shelf that the research station is on, and quietly floating away into the Arctic waters and watching the disaster that Tom leaves in his wake as is usual. But he will still be hailed as a hero, especially for his daring escape and making sure that everybody is safe by getting the research station, everything on the ice floe, and like drifting into the shipping lanes and disrupting international commerce traffic. But that's hand waved away. It's been like, he had no choice. He had to save these people. And
I do like a story where our characters are left better by the adventure that they experience. And
it's not so much the case here. No, not at all.
It's even worse now because he was saved from the potential embarrassment of being found out as a fraud. The stakes are much higher now. Like, it is the self-perpetuating Ponzi scheme.
You'd think he'd have to go into politics. I mean, that's
rather a cynical but not necessarily incorrect way to look at it. Yeah.
The book ends up with like another win for Tom, despite bumblefucking his way through the whole problem as usual.
And he's even in an even worse situation. I honestly consider Tom Swift Jr. a bit of a tragic hero because he is no better off than when he started. He is panicking even worse.
He gets the credit. He comes out ahead, but he knows
they're just going to expect more of him.
More of him, yeah. He'll have to do it again, and
and he still doesn't have a way to comfortably retire and be an underwater polo referee like he wants
to. Despite being able to hold his breath for 16 minutes, which came in useful in the book.
It did. I mean, he did crack his little helmet.
Swim out of the flooded tunnels, which due to the melted magma had melted the polar ice, and that's the only way that he managed to rescue himself. So I guess it worked for him.
Just as it does in every of the Tom Swift Jr. books. Like, it always ends with he's only able to really solve things because he can hold his breath for 16 minutes.
And of course, if you're an author of this kind of book, you can't kill off your darlings.
I think Stephen King's Misery taught us that.
I never actually read it nor seen the movie, actually.
It's an author who
gets captured by his biggest fan and
gets nursed back to health by his biggest fan, who then reads his latest manuscript.
And goes like, no, this is not how I learned it. And did that turn out prophetic? Death of the author, and trying to oh no, this is not how we wanted Star Wars to go. And
do it again.
Yeah, do it better. Do it the way I want it.
Yes, exactly.
Anyway, I guess most fandoms have that problem.
But some deal with it by more creativity, which I think is the way to go. More new stuff, more new things. Much in the way that this is a new year, and so we're not resting on our laurels, and we're not doing callbacks to previous episodes, and we're not questioning whether I can remember recent events because we don't want to bother our readers at home with those, and we're just moving ahead with a clean slate. You and I, and my identity concealing bear suit.
Yes. Is that comfortable to wear when you're sleeping at night?
I'm very comfortable in here.
Yes. Okay. Glad to hear that.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye on that.
Thank you. So how are we going to rate this book?
Oh, let's see.
I mean, he was an inventor. We have volcanoes.
Let's see. Well, we can rate him on. See, we have Amundsen, we have Scott, and we have Hillary. Right?
You mean Sir Edmund Hillary?
He was actually the first person to summit Mount Everest, visit the North Pole and the South Pole.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
So that's he summited Mount Everest in 1953, and he did the North Pole in 1958.
Now, didn't Tenzing Norgay go up there?
Oh, yeah, together. To the fact that there is no photographic evidence of Hillary on the top. There's only the photo of Norgay up there, because Norgay didn't know how to operate the camera.
So going by the evidence, shouldn't we say that definitely Tenzing Norgay summited Mount Everest
along with someone who had a camera?
Yes, exactly.
But let's assume that Scott didn't make it, Amundsen who did, and then Hillary, who did both.
Both. Oh, okay. Yeah,
I'm going to give it a Amundsen.
And Appleton just straight down the middle. You achieved what he set out to do. I think that's very good. I think that Victor Appleton II will be very pleased.
It's like he ticked all of the check marks.
Way
in
to
his
go!
Book, so yes, I'll give it that.
And speaking of reviews, for our readers at home, if you've enjoyed this podcast, perhaps you'd enjoy leaving a review of your own. But we do recommend, in the spirit of Cover My Ass, that you leave a review for an episode that you haven't listened to yet, and maybe just look at the picture and see if you can guess what it's about and give it an appropriately positive review. Because yes, we're always very positive about the books that we review.
We never review books we don't like,
and we don't even read the ones we do. So what do we have in store for our readers next week?
Next week's book is by Arnetta R. Scow, and it is On the Eighth Day God Created Hairdressers. I have contributed in many ways to the field of beauty.
I love a long title. And that about covers it. Thank you for joining us at Cover My Art, where baffling books are reviewed but not read by yours truly. My name is Khaki.
And I'm Kay. And remember,
we only judge a book by its
cover.
Penguins. No, it's the other one. I'm sorry.
Yes, no, it's penguins.
I'll get it next time. It is penguins.
It is penguins.
See, I thought so. Yeah.
It's by penguin books.
Do you have any more food?
Not on me.
Can I check?
All three of you?
Kay, where are you? Kay, can you follow this? Okay, I'll just keep cycling. Can you maybe light a signal fire? I've been cycling on the Threagle 3 for so long. I've no idea where to find you. Kay.